Hey everyone, this is Steve Weintraub with Collider, and I'm here at our media studio at the Cinema Center in Austin at South by Southwest, getting to talk to all these cool people who are at the festival, like the fine folks behind, I almost said it wrong, Brother vs. Brother. I was going to say something completely different. I really want to say, and I really mean this, I'm so happy you guys made this because I am a huge fan of films that just do different shit, that are not just doing the same story again and again and are trying new things. It's one of the reasons why I was a huge fan of Coppola's I don't know how to pronounce that.
Megalopolis.
Thank you. Just because he took a huge swing. You know what I mean? And that's what the art form should be, is taking huge swings and doing different stuff. So I hate saying this, but no one watching this will have seen the movie yet. So what do you want to tell people about it?
Well, Brother versus Brother is a one-shot musical odyssey about twin brothers. And we play these brothers, my brother and I.
I thought it was her.
Yeah, I thought it was my brother there. No, my twin brother Ethan and I play dueling musical twins who have an agenda to maybe get a gig, maybe find love in the streets of San Francisco while our father, who is possibly dying, has gone missing. And it is...
He's going like this while you're
like,
talking.
Oh, he's telling me to shut up.
No.
He's just having fun.
We're doing our Gallagher Brothers routine now. Yeah, no, we got in a fight yesterday. But actually, it's the first time you almost punched me.
Wait, is this true?
Yeah.
I told him that
we're brothers.
Next time he was going to get it in the face.
It's not called Brother versus... Well, Brother versus Brother is a pun. So it's the combative brothers and siblings and people who love each other. And it's also the word verses, as in poetry verses and musical verses. And this is a movie was done as a improvised one-shot experience for the audience in the sense that the movie starts, there are no cuts, and you travel with us through the streets of San Francisco where we encounter Louise, aka Lara Louise, and Brian, and the poet laureate of San Francisco, and we did this all in real life in the real city, but it's not a documentary; it's a performance in the real world.
So I have so many questions because I really want to know, what day of the week did you shoot this? What time of the day? Because
it was late afternoon. I mean, we wanted to start as the foggy San Francisco day was, where those days where you have a mix of fog and sun, and then as night falls, it becomes romantic, and then as darkness comes and our father is still missing, the darkness and fear about his loss takes over. So it takes place at that beautiful time between, let's say, 6 p.m. and 7:30 p.m.
So I do have questions for everyone. If you don't mind, just one more. So talk a little bit about, people are going to watch this and wonder, how much are things set up in, say, the bar and other places that you go to? How much is everyone in those establishments aware of what's happening? And how much is it sort of this is really happening and
Yeah, I would say in terms of the street, the street was 100% real. We weren't scheduling cars to go by. We weren't blocking traffic. We were just shooting in the street. The bars were a mix. So we had some people were with us and were aware of the camera. Other people just walked into the bar, and if we got the chance to, we'd say, hey, there's a camera on, please don't look at it. And it's a mix. So there's one of the bars was fully unaware of what we were about to do. So it's real life. It's controlled real life. So each scene had a very clear structure between us that we all understood about and between the camera operator, who I saw as one of the actors, in the sense that that's a character that's moving through the scene. And when you do something without cuts, you can't have a close-up, you can't have a wide shot, you can't cut to somebody holding a pencil. You just have that one thing. So the camera operator has to dance and act with us and create that close-up or move away from us based on what emotionally is happening in the scene. And so all that was planned as well as we could, but then reality creates a different experience. So that's...
I apologize. I can't remember one of you, I think it was you, almost gets hit by a car in the movie, or was it you?
It was
It's us.
It was.
Yeah, I apologize for not remembering.
No, it's fine.
That was very real, by the way.
Right, and that's what I wanted to know. I'm watching that. I'm like, oh shit, they almost got hit by a car filming this.
Yeah.
So how close was that?
Well, I mean, if you watch it frame by frame, you can see. I think the car was aware of us, but yeah, we ran into traffic. I dragged her into traffic, I have to confess, but it created a nice moment, and it was scripted, and I wanted to do that. I didn't want to put my co-star at risk, but it worked nicely because it was real, and then the camera knew to go back to Ethan.
Yeah, I mean, it plays
and then
into the character.
Ethan has a real reaction.
I wouldn't run into the street. So,
But it's clear because it was a very good moment in the movie, and then the way the camera goes to you, I was like, oh, I don't know how they're doing this. This is like,
planned with real. So I wanted to plan the run for when a car was coming, and ran just as I saw the car coming towards the car, but in reality, the camera is in a position where we weren't going to get hit. We weren't in the car's lane, but the camera's behind us, so it looks maybe more dangerous than it felt.
I'm not so sure about that. I think it looks as real as it was.
Yeah.
I will say that it plays very good and it is surprising. I'm going to move off you for a quick second.
Please.
I'm going to actually go to the two of you. I'm coming to you in a second. For both of you, like, what is it like being like asked to be in something like this, and then talk a little bit about the responsibility when you're trying to do everything in one take and like make it as real as it can be, but it's also sort of stayed like, talk a little bit about the experience of making this besides what the first part.
I guess I'll begin. It was, I don't want to say it was easy, but it kind of was easy because Ari made the atmosphere very relaxed and it felt very real. Like it was real people of San Francisco, and you couldn't cast better San Francisco people than that were in this bar at that time. And I felt like I was in San Francisco because I was in San Francisco, and Ari just like, he just sort of guided me through, and it was improv, and he just sort of gave me the idea of what to say. I kind of knew what it was, a story between him and his brother and their dad, and then his brother trying to find work and in gigs and all this stuff, and it was super easy to talk to her. She was super natural, like it was almost like there was no acting really because everyone was just so confident in their own bodies and in their own abilities. That I don't know. There was like, because there wasn't like this huge camera crew and setups and breaking for the right perfect lighting. None of that mattered. What mattered was the moment of capturing the truth, and I like to think that we did that. And I like to think that we did that. Yeah, but there's also I think there's a moment where Ari pulls Laura away from me. I'm trying to pick her up, so to speak, like just like chat her up, and I'm doing a good job, I think. Then he comes and just steals her from me, and my initial reaction is to be upset, but he had me like play against that, where that's not natural to me, but it actually was very good for the moment, for my character of like, I don't care, let's just brush it off, no, it's just another girl, that kind of thing. Which I would very much care, and I would get hurt. I was deeply hurt, but yeah, I think to me, it's my favorite part of the movie, and it's not just because I'm in it. I just think that that scene is so magical when they go to the bathroom and have like an emotional moment between the two of them, and the song they play is just freaking hysterical. You can't help but be in a good mood hearing it. It's just one of those moments.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think it really helped that we're all playing versions of ourselves. So even though, I don't know about you, but I didn't have a lot of experience or any experience at all when it comes to acting. But because we're versions of ourselves, that really helped guide it. So I think it went well.
I'm now looking square at you. Talk a little bit about the music and how, like, writing the music, like which songs went where, like how much is that a collaboration? How much is that you figuring that stuff out? Because music's obviously a huge part of this movie.
Yeah, I would say it was a collaboration, certainly, and there were some songs that were things that we, as the Brothers Gold, would do in the early part of the film. There's this sort of idea of us playing together was something that shows up in the early part, and then as the film goes on, it centers a little bit more on my kind of the sort of tortured artist character that I'm doing in real life a little bit, but also definitely in the film. But yeah, we debated it like hard. Like there were definitely, like there's a key song that shows up at the end, and that was something we went round and around. There were like 7 or 8 different songs, some that I presented that I really pushed for. You know, we ended up at a song that becomes kind of the theme of the film called Brothers Keep Going Anyway, which kind of touches on the theme. The lyrics change in different iterations of where it shows up, sort of to reflect where things are in terms of our relationship. And ultimately for me, the film is brother versus brother. It's kind of about separating from family, actually. And so the song was a reflection of that. And then there was a score, which, you know, we talked about a lot as well, but I took elements of the song and really kind of pulled them out and turned it into a kind of very lightly referring to a kind of free jazz, broken apart sort of piano statement, and it became a very simple underscore that I think tied to the neighborhood for me. And
but also you brought in some other elements, he's brought in like harpsichord and melodica to give it, because North Beach, San Francisco, there's a heritage of the beatnik generation that our father was a part of, and he really helped bring in that sense, that kind of like the writers who studied in Paris and got drunk in Paris, and then some of them moved to San Francisco. That tone comes through in his score, that you kind of feel a little bit of Paris and a little bit of New York, and that element makes it a kind of multi-generational story. So you're not just seeing the buildings that were, the places where Kerouac and Ginsberg, used to drink, but you're feeling that beatnik lineage through the subtle musical cues that are born out of his songs, but then populated through different instruments.
I'd like to say something about the soundscape, just being there live. Ethan just created this incredible atmosphere of his piano, and then watching the movie, how the camera comes in and out of conversation too. Like that's part of the score as well, the conversation, in my opinion. And none of that was in post, right? Like it's pretty much what it was.
There was a lot of post work in terms of mixing, and I looked at some of my favorite movie, like Robert Altman's Nashville does that a lot. So we'll have multiple conversations and music going on at once, and they've recorded it all, but then in post you're deciding, okay, so like when you and Lara are talking at the bar, this is a really intense song called The Fogman that Ethan's playing, and at the beginning it's with him, and then it goes to me, and then it goes to you, and during the you guys section he kind of drifts away because you guys are talking to each other, but then I come back and I'm trying to get you to listen to his music, and then the music sort of follows me.
And that's probably why it feels natural, is because we were catching moments of a conversation already in progress. So there was already the life before and then continued after. So there was never like, okay, action, now you're on. It's just like we're just just caught us in moments, and that felt very free and right for this.
I'm almost out of time. In fact, I'm out of time, but I'm going to push one more question. One of the parts of the movie is you guys are walking up a huge hill, and then you're completely out of breath, and you still have to talk and perform and all that. How conscious were you when you were filming that of like, oh shit, I'm like, we've just been walking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hurt my ankle during the shoot, and by the end of the film, I'm limping. But I mention it to my brother on the last hill, where I'm like, and it became part of the story. And
we'd work with that. I ended up pushing
Lara's works these hills.
Yeah.
She plays shows in all this neighborhood, and she's constantly having to carry her guitar up and down that specific famous set of steps. And so we used it, I guess.
my last thing. Your dad had an apartment, and I wrote it down in Russian Hill,
Yes.
Russian Hill area for 60 years.
Yeah.
And
Rent control.
Right. Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
it's in the movie.
Yeah.
Right. So I can't. Was his rent at the end like $5? Like what?
It was it was something like $582.12 because San Francisco had a law that was grandfathered in that they could only put a certain amount of rent raised per year. So
I was like, because the camera goes all the way and goes into the apartment. I'm like, oh my God, he's been there for 60 years.
Yeah.
Like it's, and this is your dad's essentially last work. I know there's some, there's poems or there's something else, but like last on screen.
Well, it's his first. In fact, it's our father's birthday today, March 9th. So happy birthday, Dad! But it was his first acting role, but amazingly, Brian's a really great actor who's been studying the craft. Lara is a great performer as a singer, but this is her first time doing it. But my dad, I have to say, I didn't know because he's not a singer, he's not a musician, not a performer. He's always presented his short stories and would read and would teach, but I didn't know if he was going to be able to act when the camera was floating into his place. And he's incredible, and it's I feel very lucky that we were able to get his debut performance on film.
Yeah, I thought that part was just great, especially where it all goes in the movie. And anyway, as you can tell, this is a very like sort of superficial conversation because I don't want to ruin things for people who are, I don't want to get talked about specific stuff. Hopefully that made some sense.
It all
The
makes
sharks
sense.
don't get them at the end.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
But I'm so sincere when I say this. I'm so happy you guys made this because I love art that just does stuff, that just pushes cinema forward. That it's not the same cookie cutter thing I've seen 1,000 times. So, thank you for making it.
That means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys have a fantastic South by. Thank you
you
so
so
much for
much.
coming in today. Wish you nothing but the best.
Appreciate
Thank you for
you having us. Yeah.